The kingdom of Eldros had one law every child learned before they could even read. Never enter the Ashen Peaks. The mountains belonged to dragons. Travelers whispered that the skies there burned with living fire. Merchants claimed entire caravans vanished without leaving footprints behind. Soldiers who returned from the borders refused to speak about what they had seen. Most people believed the stories. 17-year-old Rowan believed only what he could prove. Living in the quiet village of Briar Hollow, Rowan spent his days gathering herbs for the village healer. He wasn't a knight, a hunter, or a hero. His father had died protecting the village years ago, leaving behind only one lesson. Strength isn't measured by the enemies you defeat. It's measured by the lives you choose to save. Those words stayed with Rowan long after everyone else had forgotten the man who spoke them. One cool morning, Rowan climbed farther into the mountains than ever before, searching for the rare silver-leaf flower that bloomed only after summer storms. As he filled his satchel, an earth-shaking roar echoed across the valley. The birds exploded into the sky. The ground trembled beneath his boots. Rowan froze. Another roar followed. This one weaker, filled with pain instead of fury. "That isn't hunting," he whispered. He knew he should leave. Instead, he ran toward the sound. After climbing through jagged rocks and shattered pine trees, he reached a hidden canyon unlike anything he had imagined. A massive silver dragon lay collapsed beside a crystal river. Her scales shimmered like polished moonlight, but dozens had been cracked open. Black arrows pierced her wings. Thick chains wrapped around one of her forelegs, each etched with glowing crimson symbols. Blood stained the white stones beneath her. Even wounded, she was magnificent. Rowan's heart pounded. So dragons are real. The dragon slowly lifted her enormous head. Golden eyes locked onto him. For a long moment, neither moved. Then she growled. Not with anger. With exhaustion. "If you have come to finish the hunt." Her voice echoed directly inside his mind. "Then do it quickly." Rowan nearly stumbled backward. "You can speak." "I can. You thought I came to kill you? You are human." So humans usually do." Rowan looked at the broken arrows buried in her side. "I didn't do this." "No," she answered quietly. "But your kind did." Silence settled between them. Rowan studied the chains. He recognized the glowing runes from an old book the village healer owned. "They're sealing chains." The dragon blinked. "You know their purpose?" "My teacher collected ancient manuscripts. These chains drain magic." A flicker of surprise crossed her eyes. Very few humans remember that knowledge. Rowan carefully stepped closer. "I'm going to remove them." The dragon laughed bitterly. "You'll die? Maybe. The hunters will return." "I know. You fear death less than common sense." Rowan smiled faintly. "My father said helping someone is rarely convenient." Without waiting for permission, he knelt beside the first chain. The metal burned his hands immediately. He gritted his teeth. Ancient runes glowed brighter. This isn't going to be easy. Hours passed beneath the afternoon sun. Rowan used every tool he carried. Nothing worked. Finally, he remembered something from the healer's notes. Runes required intent, not force. He closed his eyes. Taking a deep breath, he placed both palms on the chain. "I'm not your enemy," he whispered. "I only want to save a life." For a heartbeat. Nothing happened. Then every rune flickered. Cracks spread across the enchanted metal. The first chain shattered into dust. The dragon gasped as power surged back through her body. "You broke Imperial binding steel." "I suppose I did." "Impossible." "I'm starting to dislike that word." For the first time, the dragon smiled. It transformed her terrifying face into something unexpectedly gentle. "My name is Lyra." "Rowan." "You should leave, Rowan. You still can't fly." "I will recover." "Not with those wounds." Before Lyra could argue again, distant voices drifted through the canyon. "They're here. Hurry. The beast can't have gone far." Rowan peeked over the rocks. 6 armored hunters. Each carried enchanted crossbows. At their center walked a tall man wearing black armor trimmed with crimson. Unlike the others, he smiled. "Found her," he said calmly. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Commander Varric. You know him? He serves the Order of Ash. They hunt dragons. They hunt power." Varric stepped into the canyon. "There you are, Your Majesty." Rowan frowned. "Your Majesty?" Varric laughed. "You really don't know who you've rescued?" He bowed mockingly toward the wounded dragon. "Allow me to introduce the Dragon Empress, wife of the Dragon Emperor himself." Rowan's stomach dropped. He hadn't rescued an ordinary dragon. He had rescued the queen of the most feared empire in existence. Varek's smile widened. Unfortunately for you, boy, witnesses complicate negotiations. He raised one hand. The hunters aimed their crossbows. Lyra struggled to stand. Run, she shouted. Rowan looked at the frightened woman trapped inside a dragon's body. He looked at the hunters. Then he quietly stepped in front of Lyra. Varek blinked. You cannot be serious. I'm serious enough. The commander laughed so hard he nearly lowered his sword. A farm boy intends to protect the Dragon Empress? I'm protecting someone who can't protect herself. You'll die? Maybe. But she won't die alone. For the first time, the laughter disappeared from Varek's face. Kill the boy. 6 crossbows fired at once. Rowan grabbed the broken ceiling chain lying beside him. Acting on pure instinct, he swung it in front of him. The shattered runes suddenly burst with blinding white light. Every bolt froze in midair. The canyon fell silent. Even Lyra stared in disbelief. What? Rowan whispered. The glowing fragments circled him like stars. Far above the clouds, an ancient roar shook the heavens. It was louder than thunder, older than the mountains. Lyra's golden eyes widened with genuine fear. No. She looked toward the sky. He felt it. Who? Her voice became barely a whisper. My husband. The clouds split apart. A shadow larger than the mountain itself descended through the sunlight. The Dragon Emperor had awakened. Every tree bent as a hurricane of invisible force swept through the canyon. The crystal river erupted into towering waves, and the hunters stumbled backward, struggling to keep their footing. High above, the clouds split apart. 2 brilliant sapphire eyes burned through the heavens. No one spoke. No one breathed. Even Commander Varek's arrogant smile vanished. The Dragon Emperor, he whispered. The enormous shadow descended slowly, each beat of its wings sounding like thunder rolling across the mountains. Sunlight poured around the colossal dragon, making his obsidian scales shimmer with streaks of sapphire light. He was beyond enormous. He was ancient. Every instinct in Rowan screamed for him to run. Instead, he remained where he stood, shielding Lyra. The Dragon Emperor landed on a distant cliff, yet his head alone towered over the entire canyon. His gaze settled on Lyra. My Empress. The words echoed through every mind instead of the air. Lyra lowered her head. I am sorry, Kale. You have nothing to apologize for. His glowing eyes moved toward the arrows embedded in her scales. The mountain itself seemed to grow colder. Then his gaze shifted to Rowan. The young human suddenly felt impossibly small. So, the Emperor's voice was calm. You are the one who freed her. Rowan swallowed hard. Yes. You knew who she was? I found out afterward. And yet you remained. I couldn't leave someone to die. The Emperor studied him for several silent moments. I have watched humans for over 1,000 years. His voice carried neither hatred nor kindness. Most seek power. Many seek glory. Nearly all fear dragons. But you, his brilliant eyes narrowed. You chose compassion. Before Rowan could answer, Commander Varek stepped forward and dropped to one knee. Your Majesty. The Dragon Emperor ignored him. Varek forced a confident smile. I have come with a proposal. Still no response. The Order of Ash merely wishes to negotiate peace between our races. Lyra growled despite her injuries. Liar. Varek continued as though she had spoken nothing. If your Majesty agrees to surrender the crown flame, there will be no more conflict. The canyon became perfectly silent. Rowan frowned. The crown flame? Lyra answered quietly. The source of the Dragon Empire's life. If humans possessed it, Rowan said, they could control dragons. Or destroy us. The Emperor finally looked toward Varek. You attacked my mate. You imprisoned an empress. And now, his voice deepened until the rocks cracked beneath everyone's feet. You ask for mercy. Varek slowly stood. I ask for reason. Without warning, he snapped his fingers. The mountains exploded. Hidden ballistae emerged from beneath camouflage nets high along the cliffs. Dozens. Every massive weapon was already loaded. Fire. The sky filled with enchanted harpoons. Rowan's eyes widened. There are too many. The Dragon Emperor didn't move. Instead, he inhaled once. A deep, glowing blue light formed inside his throat. Then, he exhaled. Not fire. Pure celestial energy. The beam streaked across the canyon like a river of stars, vaporizing every enchanted harpoon before they could reach him. The shockwave shattered the hidden ballistae into splinters. Entire cliff faces collapsed. The surviving hunters fled in panic. Only Varek remained standing. "You've become weaker," he called. "If this were your true strength, I'd already be dead." For the first time, uncertainty crossed Lyra's face. He noticed. Rowan looked between them. "What does he mean?" The Emperor answered himself. "I cannot unleash my full power." "Why not?" "Because the crown flame is dying." Rowan stared. "The Dragon Empire is fading." "For centuries," Kale continued, "someone has been stealing its life." Lyra closed her eyes. "We have searched every kingdom. We found nothing." Varric laughed. "Of course you didn't. You searched for an enemy. You never searched for a traitor." Before anyone could react, Varric crushed a black crystal hidden in his glove. Dark smoke exploded around him. When it cleared, he was gone. Only his laughter echoed through the canyon. Kale looked toward the empty cliffs. He escaped. Lyra lowered her head. "He knows too much." The Emperor stepped carefully into the valley. Despite his unimaginable size, every movement was controlled. Gentle. He stopped before Rowan. The young man instinctively looked up. And up. And up. "You protected my Empress when you believed death was certain. I only did what was right." So few humans still believe that. Kale lowered his enormous head until one glowing eye was level with Rowan. "What reward do you desire?" Rowan blinked. "I don't want a reward. Everyone wants something. Not always." The Dragon Emperor studied him again. Finally, something resembling a smile appeared. "You truly are unusual." Lyra chuckled softly. "I told you." Kale turned back toward her. "You should return home." "I cannot." "Why?" She looked at Rowan. "Because whoever betrayed us now knows humans capable of kindness still exist." Rowan frowned. "I don't understand." Lyra sighed. "The traitor won't merely hunt dragons anymore. He'll hunt you." Before Rowan could respond, a sharp whistle echoed from the forest. Kale's expression darkened instantly. "Hide." "What?" "Hide." An explosion erupted nearby. The mountainside collapsed in a storm of stone and dust. From the smoke emerged dozens of towering figures cloaked in black armor. Each carried weapons unlike anything Rowan had ever seen. Not swords. Not bows. Long staffs pulsing with crimson crystals. One of them raised his weapon. A voice rang through the canyon. "Target confirmed." Another answered. "The human is alive." A third spoke coldly. "Excellent. Capture the boy. Kill every dragon who stands in your way." Kale spread his massive wings, shielding Rowan and Lyra as crimson light flooded the battlefield. For the first time in centuries, the Dragon Emperor looked genuinely worried. The canyon shook beneath marching feet. Thousands of crimson lights advanced through the drifting smoke as the black-armored army surrounded the valley. Every soldier carried a crimson crystal staff, and each crystal pulsed like a heartbeat. Kale's wings remained spread wide, shielding Rowan and Lyra. For the first time since Rowan had met him, the Dragon Emperor looked uncertain. "They are not ordinary soldiers," Kale said quietly. "What are they?" Rowan asked. "The Crimson Legion." Lyra's weary eyes widened. "I thought they were destroyed centuries ago." "So did I." The leading warrior stepped forward and removed his helmet. He was neither old nor young. His pale face bore no emotion, but a crimson mark stretched from his forehead to his neck like cracked glass. He smiled. "Dragon Emperor." Kale's voice hardened. "Malachar, you remember me." "I remember every traitor." Rowan glanced between them. "He's the one stealing the crown flame?" Malachar nodded without shame. "For nearly 400 years." Lyra growled. "You betrayed your own people. I saved them. You doomed them." Malachar raised his hand. The Dragon Empire feared change. Humans feared dragons. Endless war, endless death. "So you chose treason?" "I chose evolution." The crimson mark on his skin glowed brighter. "I discovered that the crown flame can awaken something greater than dragons, something that can rule every kingdom." Kale's eyes narrowed. "You've lost your mind." "Perhaps." Malachar looked directly at Rowan. "But your little human has accelerated everything." Rowan frowned. "What do you mean?" "When you shattered the imperial binding chain, the ancient oath awakened." Kale turned sharply toward Rowan. "So that's why?" Lyra whispered. "It wasn't chance." Rowan looked confused. "I don't understand." Kale lowered his head. "Long before humans and dragons became enemies, Our ancestors forged a covenant. If one race stood on the edge of extinction, the other would produce a guardian. Rowan blinked. A guardian? A soul capable of protecting both races. Lyra smiled weakly. You activated the covenant when you chose compassion over fear. I didn't choose because of some prophecy. No. Kale's deep voice softened. That is precisely why you were chosen. Malachar laughed. Touching, but unnecessary. He raised both arms. Every crimson staff began to glow. Dark energy poured into the sky, weaving together like rivers of blood. The clouds twisted into a colossal vortex. The earth split open. A deafening roar echoed from beneath the mountains. Something was waking. Kale's expression changed instantly. No, it cannot be. The mountain exploded. A creature larger than any dragon clawed its way from the depths. It had 6 burning eyes. For massive horns. Its body was covered in black crystal instead of scales. No life. No soul. Only hunger. Rowan stared in horror. What is that? Malachar smiled proudly. The Devourer. It feeds upon magic. Lyra whispered. That monster existed only in legends. It was a legend. Malachar grinned. Until I gave it life. The Devourer released a roar that shattered distant cliffs. Without warning, it lunged toward Kale. The Dragon Emperor met it head-on. Their collision shook the mountains. Shock waves ripped through the valley. Kale breathed celestial energy. The Devourer answered with crimson darkness. Neither gained the advantage. Meanwhile, the Crimson Legion charged. Rowan grabbed a fallen sword from the ground. I can't fight all of them. You don't have to. Lyra slowly stood despite her wounds. Silver fire surrounded her body. Light engulfed her massive dragon form. When it faded, a woman with silver hair stood before Rowan. Though injured, dignity radiated from her. The dragons can hold the Legion. She placed a glowing hand on Rowan's chest. But only you can end this. A warm light spread through him. What did you do? I returned what the Covenant has been waiting for. Golden symbols appeared across Rowan's arms. He suddenly understood. Not spells. Not power. Purpose. Malachar noticed immediately. So, the Guardian has awakened. He smiled. Excellent. He rushed toward Rowan with terrifying speed. Steel clashed against steel. Rowan barely blocked the first strike. Malachar attacked again. And again. Every blow drove Rowan backward. You've never been trained, Malachar mocked. No. Rowan answered through gritted teeth. But I've learned something. What? Courage isn't winning. It's refusing to abandon people. Malachar laughed. A meaningless belief. He raised his blade for the final strike. Suddenly, golden chains erupted from the ground. The same ancient magic that had shattered Lyra's prison now wrapped around Malachar's arms. His smile vanished. What? Rowan stared at the glowing chains. I didn't summon them. Kale's voice thundered across the battlefield. The Covenant answers the heart, not the hand. The chains tightened. The stolen crown flame burst from Malachar's crimson mark like a blazing blue star. Kale caught it in midair. The heavens exploded with sapphire light. Every dragon across the valley lifted its head. Their fading strength returned instantly. The Devourer screamed. Its crystal body cracked. Without the stolen crown flame, it began collapsing into dust. No, Malachar shouted. I built a new future. You built it upon betrayal, Rowan replied. The Devourer disintegrated in a storm of black crystal. The Crimson Legion threw down their weapons. Their crimson staffs crumbled into ash. Silence returned to the valley. Kale approached Rowan, no longer as a ruler passing judgment, but as a king honoring an equal. He lowered his enormous head. Human guardian. Because of you, my people live. Lyra smiled warmly. And so do yours. Rowan looked across the battlefield. Humans and dragons were helping one another treat the wounded. No one cared who belonged to which race anymore. I didn't save the world alone, Rowan said. I only chose not to walk away. Kale's sapphire eyes reflected the setting sun. History remembers great warriors. But legends. He paused. Remember those who choose kindness when hatred is easier. Months later, the Ashen Peaks were no longer forbidden. Dragon and human children laughed together beside the crystal river where fear had once ruled. A stone monument stood at the canyon's entrance. It did not depict a king, nor an emperor. It showed a 17-year-old human standing before a wounded dragon. Beneath it were words carved in both human and dragon languages. One act of compassion accomplished what centuries of war never could. And for generations to come, whenever parents asked how peace between dragons and humans began, the answer was always the same. Because one ordinary human teen risked everything to save the Dragon Emperor's wife.